Hi, everybody. I hope that you are having a great Friday that will lead us into a great Shabbat the next coming days together, both this evening and into all day tomorrow, hopefully filled with relaxation and all the beautiful things that Shabbat brings us. The Torah portion this week is called Toldot, generations. It is essentially the the discussion of the birth of the twins from Isaac and Rebekah, Esau and Jacob. That's what we begin our Torah portion with. This is like the really fabulous, incredibly great part of the beginnings of the Torahs, of the development of the characters and our forefathers and our foremothers. And so we learn in this Torah portion, which we'll discuss more tomorrow, but we learn in this Torah portion that even inside the womb, the two boys were, let's call them, arguing or moving about, and it was even very stressful for Rebecca. And then there's this sort of cool birth moment where they're struggling on who's going to be born first, and Esau's born first, and holding on to Esau's heel is Jacob, which is Hebrew for Yaakov, has the word akev in it, or heel, as if to say that literally he was holding on to the heel of Esau as he was born. And it's almost like the relationship was similar to that. We learn that they both have very specific types, meaning that Esau was more of the rugged outdoorsman, and that Jacob was more of the indoor kid, if you will. And so there's a lot of cool components, particularly regarding the object that's behind me, which is a big pot of stew, which I'll talk about in a minute. But I want to give a special shout out to Ali, who shared with us a great discussion and angle on this Torah portion. She did it on Thursday during the PO meeting for our early childhood program, and I promised her that I would share some of her thoughts because she wrote a beautiful drash during that meeting, and that she really talked about this idea because it was very much connected to early childhood, that we're responsible to rise to the occasion of all kids because every kid's different, that it becomes our job that, if we have one kid or two kids or three kids, or we have nieces and nephews, or we work in a school and there are a lot of kids, that it's our job to connect with every kind of kid, that indoor kids are different than outdoor kids, and the rugged kids are different than the more thoughtful kids, and more thoughtful kids are from different than the quiet kids and the loud kids and the kids who read. And that's, by the way, who we are as well. So that when we meet up, when we're in our businesses or we're in a company or we're in an office together, everyone's a little different. Maybe, there are introverts and there are extroverts, and every sort of sociological test you've done, the official ones or the ones that are online or the expensive ones or the inexpensive ones, all bring us to this idea of people are different. People are simply just different, and in our differences is maybe what the beauty is that we're taught in this Torah portion, because we meet these two kids, if you will. They're a little bit older, probably. We're not totally sure when this part of the Torah comes to be, but they're probably young-ish still. One clearly available to cook a meal because there's going to be some cooking in a minute, and then also one's able to hunt. So they're certainly a little bit older, but the phrase particularly used by Ali says that, every family we meet, every child who walks through the doors of NCEC or SLJ, or anyone from that matter who comes through the doors of CBI or any community, it's our job to let them know that they're family no matter what. And so the Torah portion this week regarding this big cauldron, if you will, or this pot, has stew in it. And it's possible that much of the future of Judaism and the story of the Torah that leads us down the path that we go on has to do with stew. And we'll talk about more in detail tomorrow. But the preview I'll give you is that we find our two main characters, Jacob and Esau. Jacob is sitting, let's say, at the outside of a tent, the tents or the tent system of where they live, and he has a big pot of stew that he's making. And Esau comes back from what seems to be a very long and tiresome hunt or hike of some kind, and he is famished. The text actually says he's on the port on the brink of starvation. How hungry he is. And so the way that the dialogue happens between Jacob deciding to give him food and the way Esau asks for the food, and the dialogue between them is how we identify this next part of our Torah portion. I'm actually going to leave you in slight suspense here because I want you to join us soon in a couple of hours for services and or tomorrow a Torah study at 8:30, because the details of this moment and why I have this big thing of stew behind me has a very big deal, and the choices that are made by both Jacob and Esau that will then affect the relationship between the two of them, the entire family, the eventual growth of our ancestors, and also maybe all the way to this moment that we're sitting in right now in 2025. So, first of all, have some soup, clearly. It's Friday night, or have some stew, if you will, or maybe plan to have the stew tomorrow while you're resting and enjoying a nice Shabbat meal. But we look forward to seeing you soon. Again, services are around the corner. They're at 7 o'clock. You should join us because the lead pastor of Spanish River Church is also going to be joining us tonight, just saying hello and sharing a couple of words. David Cassidy. So join us because it's going to be great to hear from him. But also the discussion of our Torah portion and tomorrow morning at 8:30. Let's put as much shalom as we can into our Shabbat, and we'll see you soon.